Hey, yo, it's Nook2 here with another comic book haul. I've bagged some more books and still steadily working on them. So let's just get started. First of all, as always, I want to thank everyone who has taken their time to watch my videos. I appreciate it. These next few images and books are going to be from comic book warehouse sale I went to, as well as a little comic convention, a little Comic Con over the summer, and a couple of new Comic Wednesday purchases over the recent week. So, first up, we have Chemo Build a Figure from I think it's early 2000s. I have been trying to complete this figure for literally decades. When this figure first came out, the Build a Figure, I've had this portion here uncompleted for decades, literally decades. And I always thought that, so I had the head and the body and this arm and the torso. So I had three pieces. And I thought that, okay, well, I would end up finding the right arm and the two legs. Now, the completed figure will go for anywhere on a good day $100, as high as $150 plus postage. And it's a fairly heavy figure to mail. And so I never purchased all of the pieces. Back in the day, I would just buy Chemo wasn't really a big character in the figures that completed it. It was either I couldn't find them or I didn't want them. My guess is I couldn't find them because the pieces I was missing was the right arm, which was Deadshot, and then the right and left leg, which were the Guardian and Black Adam. I lived in a smaller town, so you really just had Walmart and Target at the time to find the figures, and I just never found them. I mean, I had to think that it's because I couldn't find them, because that guy there, Mantis by Hulk, I bought him, and he was the left arm, I think, and I wouldn't have bought him because I don't even know who that is. It's I think that's a Jack Kirby New Gods figure, but I always thought, well, okay, let me find the pieces, because you can buy the pieces by themselves. And uh, when we started trying to buy them, so I bought this arm here, and it was the wrong arm, and my son said, "Bull, that's the same arm. It's the same left arm, left arm." So I said, I just put it on there for now. At least it looks like he has two arms. Later on, I actually found that I had the right arm already, but I hadn't opened that figure. But anyway, I went to a Comic Con over the summer, and they had this figure for $80. And so I thought that was a great deal, and so I went ahead and bought the whole figure. And really, this right here you could flip, probably for $50 to $60, those pieces. Now, of recent, if you look at recent eBay sales, some of just the leg itself will go, just to build a figure piece will go for $60. I mean, they have gradually gone up. When I first started looking for them, the arm was like $15, and I ordered the wrong arm, and they don't come up very often. Some of the Build-A-Figures are very expensive, particularly the DC ones. Now, Marvel have started to produce the figure themselves separately to be sold, because they realize there's a market, and they already have the molds. But some of them, particularly for the DC ones, are still pretty expensive, and the Chemo is one. Not a lot of them were printed. Now, the most expensive Build-A-Figure, if you didn't know, is Fing Fang Foom, that was from the mid 2000s, when Hasbro had the license. And they never reproduced that, I think, because there's so much plastic involved in that line. And I never was able to find all of those figures either. But a completed set of those figures that included like the Hulk and some Abomination, I think it came out when the Eric Bana, Ed Norton, was it Ed Norton? I know it was Eric Bana. It was the Ang Lee Hulk version movie, one of the original Incredible Hulk movies. When that movie came out, that Build-A-Figure came, and if you got the complete set, that is an easy $1,000 six-figure set, still sealed collection. I went to a store, and you can't even find it. It's very hard to find. I went to a store recently, and they had the complete set, and he wanted $1,000. I was like, wow. And he won't, they won't sell this pieces individually. Like one of the figures I'd never even seen before, ever in person, even a show. So, but now they're reproducing them, and like if you that Sentinel from X-Men from when Toy Biz had it. I mean, that's a $200 figure to build the figure loose, and we're talking loose. Over there, Triton was a Build-A-Figure from DC, or Trigon, sorry, not Triton. What else here? Now they're remaking Apocalypse. You can see him over there. He was a Build-A-Figure, pretty big compared to the 6 inches. And then this one here, my son was playing with these. It's kind of funny as when he was a kid, as he got taller, he could grab the figures that he could reach. And I've kind of just left him as a mess in there because it reminds me of when he was a kid. But this guy here was a Build-A-Figure. I don't have the one arm. I don't know which figure it was that's missing, but I may try to find that. He'd always tell him, when he was a kid, he would always say that, oh, the arm's missing, bull. So I wanted to show that figure because I'm really happy to have Chemo. Again, not a huge figure in the DC universe. Legion of Superheroes, I guess he's a kind of a villain, and but I'm very happy to have finally got that figure. All right, so let's get started here. So let's start with speaking of figures, so the figure that I was talking, one of the figures that's expensive is, there was a time when this is X-Men number 16 variant by Russell Dauterman. I kind of like these character compilation of costumes that he does. So this Jim Lee Cyclops version they did when Hasbro had to build a figure for Warlock. And I don't know if there was just less production of that one particular figure, or if it's a popular figure that people kept or what, but that figure at one point was a $70 to $100 figure loose. I mean, sealed with the Warlock piece, and I was missing him. I'm still missing him, actually. Because I always thought, oh, he'll come down in price, and eventually I'll find it. I've never done it. Because the Warlock figure itself, that's, is probably $80 to $100 figure, Build-A-Figure. Just kind of an example of how some of these pieces are expensive. I don't really understand why it was so expensive, but anyway, that was one of the figures that I'm missing for Build-A-Figure. And this costume here with him was like, I don't even know what they were thinking when they drew that up, but it's terrible. But this is one of my favorites, and I this, obviously the classic. Actually, I don't mind the X Factor one he had too. So, all right, that's a new Comic Wednesday pull. Here is a gorgeous Jehong Lee Gwenpool cover that I really liked that came out on New Comic Wednesday. I went ahead and bought 4 copies. It doesn't really, I mean, it's new, so it's still only a $5, cover price book, but gorgeous copy, and I like it with the pink cover. Another New Comic Wednesday cover, you don't see Todd McFarlane drawing many books anymore, but The Curse of Shirley Johnson, nice looking cover by Todd. So I went ahead and bought that, and then the Virgin Sketch, they were all cover price. And then some more New Comic Wednesday books, the Exquisite Corpse #1, Jenny Frison variant, Virgin variant, my boy Danny Rand, Timeless, Alex Ross, Iron Fist, gorgeous cover. I really like the Alex Ross Timeless covers. Vampirella, Jenny Frison #2, gorgeous cover. The foil variant, which really pops as a foil, looks, just great looking cover. Let me see somewhere. Yeah, the skin looks, metallic blue there. Looks awesome. And then, I think the only other New Comic Wednesday book I wanted to show was the Vampirella Mark Sears Vampirella. I think this is Legacy 677. The homage to Jason Scott Campbell, Mary Jane cover from The Amazing Spider-Man. Nice looking cover. All right, so now let's do some dollar books. So found these dollar books at a warehouse sale. Actually, I did pretty well. I I had about two or 3 hours before work. I was out of town, and I was like, they had this warehouse sale on a Saturday, so I was like, let me stop by and see what I can find in a couple hours. So I spent a total of $42, I think, and the books that I found, if I were to flip, would easily pay for themselves, pay for what I spent, and then some. So, X-Men #24, sought after cover with Rogue and Gambit. I was gonna flip it, but then as I was looking through my list, I didn't actually have that cover, so that's going in the collection. If I find this book in near mint, I will pick it up every time, usually $1, and make some sets. But this is History of the DC Universe by Wolfman and Perez. It's got drawings in it, but it's more like a text format book with images in it that talks about the DC Universe. I think there was only 2 issues, book 1 and book 2. So I'd gone to a previous sale where I had found book 2 but didn't have book 1, and so then I found another book 1. Sensational She-Hulk #5. I don't have my glasses, so pardon me if I get the numbers wrong. I didn't have that. That's from the John Byrne run. I found this, Captain America. I remember when this had got a little heat for $1 from the Heroes Reborn with Rob Liefeld. Now these are, because I didn't have enough bags at the time, and they're still in it together. I found 4 copies of Spirits of Vengeance #9, Ghost Rider, first appearance of Vengeance. Again, there's 2 copies in each one of these, so I'll have to rebag those later. These were all from the dollar sale. Dollar warehouse sale. So then, same issue, I only had the bags that I had, and this is the Hellfire Gala variant character covers. And I had never really seen these before, but they were $1 and they were in decent shape, so I went ahead and picked them up. This is X-Force #2. And then that's X-Men 21. Excalibur 21. I don't even know who these characters are. Some of them obviously we know, but you know, like Warlock right here, and Karma, Magic, Warpath. I don't even know who Mirage is. And then there's Dazzler, Pixie. I don't know. She's new. Mercury. I don't know. And Lola. This is Weapon. No, Way of X. Nightcrawler. We know, right? And of course, the Dazzler. And so got those 5 books at $1 a piece. I picked this Gleason cover up because it's Alien #1. Really nice looking cover. Iron Man #22 with the stealth armor by Alex Ross. Nice looking cover. This here is a $20 book. This is second print of Daredevil homage. I think this is a homage of an X-Men issue, I believe. And but this is a non-lenticular cover, $5.95. So that's about a $20 book if you didn't know. And even the that's probably a $20 book. We'll leave that up there for you to look at. All right. Now, I've talked about it before. I think some of the True Believer comics are worth picking up for $1 or less. This is Wolverine Fatal Attractions, True Believers #1. That is a reprint of X-Men #25. I do believe that cover is a wraparound, but that was $1. And then I found 3 copies of Wolverine X-23 True Believers, which I do believe is worth more than $1. And Weapon X Wolverine #1 True Believers, which I didn't really know much about this comic. I mean, I do know the comic. I have the original run from Marvel Comics Presents, but what I mean was that the True Believers reprint, which it made sense after I looked through it and saw, but you know, Marvel Comics Presents was, you know, a bunch of short stories in the comic. And so the Weapon X storyline by Barry Windsor Smith was only like maybe 6 or 7, not even that, probably 5 pages of story each issue. And it ran across 5 or 6 issues of Marvel Comics Presents when they give the story of how Wolverine ended up getting adamantium on his bone skeleton, etc. And so the True Believers actually compiles multiple issues together into one comic, which I'll probably keep one copy for myself. So I didn't ever think about that. And then when I got the True Believers and saw that, that was kind of cool. Now these books here I got for $1, and I found 4 copies, and they're probably they probably go for, I don't know, $14 a piece, right? Easy, $14, $15. Respectable. The Fantastic Four gang sign meme with Mr. Fantastic, I believe it's $5.54. But I found 4 copies of that for $1 each, which, again, that's, and that, even though that was a hot book a few weeks ago, it's still selling fairly consistently for $15, an easy $15, $20. So I picked 4 copies of that up. Now the next books I'm going to show are 50-cent books. I got them at a local con, and it was actually at the same dealer on one of my other videos I showed with the Josh Middleton Dolphin cover B. So was really happy to pick all these up for 50 cents a piece. So this is Convergence #1, This is a Middleton cover. Now, when it initially came out, it sold out. I'm not quite sure why it's at the time was a hot book. Um, it's okay. It's not my favorite cover by Josh Middleton, but at its peak, it was going for $15 to $20. Now it's just $4 or $5 book, but um, um, that's all I guess I'm saying. There's some thoughts that if it was hot before, it could potentially be hot again. But in this situation, it's just a cover. There's no story significance that I'm aware of about that book. Now, the next book's Suicide Squad #1, a great looking Lee Bamijo, I think how you say it, Bamijo cover with Harley Quinn on there from DC Universe Rebirth. Nice looking cover, showing what Harley's working with, as they say, right? Showing what you're working with. Oh, and then 50 Cent, Wonder Woman 52. I got that because I didn't have that book. And then I found a run of Jenny Frison Cover B Wonder Womans for 50 cents a piece, and they're all worth more than 50 cents. So Wonder Woman #9. Wonder Woman #10, Jenny Frison, and these books will go for easily $5 to $10, some of them more. But when I saw this was actually one of the books I saw, and I was like, wow, Jenny Frison #11, gorgeous cover. I do not think it gets its due. It is still only a $5 to $10 book, but when that issue came out, this is the issue that made me a Jenny Frison fan. I didn't even know who she was at the time, but when I saw that cover on the stand, and I was like, man, that's a gorgeous cover. And I bought it and looked her up, and then I started Googling and eBay searching who Jenny Frison was and saw her covers. I was like, wow. And so, I mean, that was, from 2017. And from there, I started picking up, a lot of Jenny Frison work. And now, obviously, she's kind of one of the superstars for covers. #12. Now, this is a $10 book, easy. Goes maybe even a little bit higher. Gorgeous cover. And I think this may not be worth as much yet because it's not a complete image of Wonder Woman. This one is worth a little bit more. #12. #13. And I don't know who left all the Jenny Frison variants there. #14, because they took the regular covers. #15, gorgeous cover. #16. Also, this one has a little bit more value. #17. #18, I reused a bag. Or maybe that might have been, no, I don't, that was not it. But that is #18. #19, I really like this cover here. 19 with the green. #20, and then #21. Now, all of those books, like I said, they're easily worth more than 50 cents, and I have them all, but was really happy to get additional copies of those issues. All right. Now, some of you may know I've been showing some of these books of late where Nightwing 54, the Yasmin Putri variant, has gradually gone up in price. I've had a number of these copies, and every few, maybe 6 months, I would raise the price and sell it on eBay, and it would sell eventually. And that book now is, if you don't know what that cover is, it's probably close to a $60 to $75 book. Probably the first one that I sold for $30, $40, $69 was my last sale of that book. And just, again, seeing what they sell for. I think 54, if you don't know what that cover is eventually going to end up being $100 book. It's a very low, Nightwing is a low print run comic anyway, and then the cover Bs were even ratio, and so 1-for-1, and so Nightwing is probably a 17,000 print run, and so half of those are the variants, and back then, and so they're hard to find. People keep them, so those comics have been going up in value. The cover B in that era. So this is cover B, Nightwing 104. Not anything special. This is I don't even know what number this is, but it's a George Perez variant character development cover by George Perez. That might be issue number 100 from 2023. This is the variant by Jim Lee and Scott Williams, number 100. Bruno, I can't remember what his name is. Bruno something. Number 100. And another issue, number 100. Nightwing. It's a wraparound cover. And then number annual 2021 Nightwing. Now, the next covers from Nightwing are some pricey books. They're getting, I think they're respectable. So here is Nightwing number 113, cover B from 2024, Jamal Campbell, which, gorgeous looking book. $20, easy $20. Dan Moore, number 114. Cover all black, kind of hard to find. That's a $20 book. And then this book here, man. This is from 2023, number 105 by Dan Moore. Gorgeous cover. I did buy that on New Comic Wednesday. And that book there now. That comic here is an easy $100. Easy $100. It has been sold and slowly creeping up past 100. I've seen sales for 120, 150. Graded, it's already at 200. I mean, that book is climbing. So if you find this book, buy it. Even at $20, that's a good price to pay. And then I found these 3 books here, which for $1 at the warehouse. I was surprised. Now, and I think if these books would have been in the Nightwing section, they would have been snatched up. But this is Tim Drake, Robin, issue number 2 variant, normal ratio. It's not a 1-in-10 or anything. But this is Robin, the Boy Wonder, Dan Moore, homage cover, right? With Robin or Nightwing and Tim Drake. So Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. And those books there are easily $75 to $100. Easy $75 to $100. And a lot of those cover Bs from 2022, 2023 are just 2022 also are just steadily climbing. So if you see those books, you should pick them up. I'd recommend you picking up. I am. And that was probably these 3 books here at $1 a piece was the find of the warehouse for me. And in this day and age, you know, going through dollar books, it's harder and harder to find stealth buys, you know. And I don't even consider them stealth buys because it's not a stealth buy, because they weren't in a back issue bin at a LCS that they didn't know what they had. It was more of they're just in a warehouse of just a crap load of comics that have been there and now have gone up in value and no one else has found them. So that's not my definition of stealth buy. But it was it is the reason why I like hunting for comics, because you get that little, oh man, I can't believe I found this. Or you find a book that you were missing in a series or run and you finally find it. I mean, you could always go on eBay and pick up books, and sometimes I do for things I just want that's hard to find. But to find something like that, you know, that you know is $100 book almost for $1 is just in my opinion, the thrill of hunting for comics. I don't even flip a lot of comics, but occasionally I do. I might flip one of these just to pay for what to support the hobby and pay for what I've picked up that day. Anyway, that's my haul. We will talk to you later. Peace.